This is bearhunter.tv and I'm your host Zane Daggett. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about bear bait site selection and want to give you an idea of what I've done in the past. Again, this was an effort between my friend and I, Mike, and we chose this site last year up in northern Maine. We had a bust on a site, if you will. There was a site that we had picked out, and we found that there was another hunter who had set their bait on that site, and even though we had rights to the land through the owner, we felt it was a risk to maintain that site because we didn't know if that hunter would come in and have any particular grudges or whatnot and ruin the site. So even though we kept that site somewhat open and maintained, we did not actually hunt that particular site. So what we're looking for to start is we're looking for a water source. We don't want a water source too far away, and we also want a fairly dense area of woods where the bear can feel comfortable walking around in the daylight hours and giving themselves sufficient cover. So that's one of the two things we want to look for: water source and sufficient density of woods. Okay, you can see here the woods are fairly thick. There is a slight opening here going out towards the swamp, and this is the area that we actually chose for the bait site. Again, sufficient coverage for the bear to stack, and we'll talk about that later. But if the bear come in towards the end of shooting light, they have enough cover to feel comfortable and feel like they can come into the site securely. This is the actual bait site here, and when we get ready to actually bait it, we're going to take out all these ferns because shooting from above will be pretty much prohibitive if all these ferns are still here. The bear can actually kind of walk in underneath them, and it becomes very difficult to see where you're going to shoot. So these come out fairly easy, but for now we'll leave them intact as part of the nature, and when it comes time to actually bait, we'll do that. Tree stand is looking right over the bait site, about 25-30 feet up in the air, and looking down on the bait site, and you can actually see the barrels there from last year, and the next time you see those, hopefully they'll be fully loaded up with bait. Just a word about the actual bait site. You'll notice here in last year's bait site that we've put the barrels in and around a crib. That crib helps protect the bait and the barrels. We've also run a chain right through the barrels in the back and locked them to the tree. This prevents the bears from, if you will, stealing the barrels. They do want to drag those barrels away, and by doing this with the crib, it gives them a very secure setting. The bear will climb on top, in and around. They'll pull and poke at the barrels. They'll do just about anything they can to look for more food. So once these barrels get low on food, they do become a bit destructive. Also, you can't really see it here in this video, but the bear will climb up the trees, some of the smaller ones. I don't know if you can see any of those marks there in the trees, but they climb up quite a ways. They'll also use the tree as a scratching post for their back, and it's quite an experience to actually see this in person. So hopefully through your efforts of following this blog, you'll want to get out here and do the same thing. I've actually come out today to do a little bit of target practice. I'm setting up my actual target practice right by the bait site, and then I'll go up to the tree stand here in a little bit and take a few shots from the tree stand. As you know, when you're shooting up in the air at a sharp angle, the geometry, if you will, of target practice or target shooting is much different than that when you're on flat ground. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Okay, I'm up here in the tree stand and taking a few shots. There's a lot of elements at play here: the tree swaying back and forth, the light, the amount of branches in your way. So if you can do this in an environment where you don't have to worry about missing the shot or messing up, it's a good chance to do that. And as you can see, my sight from way up here looks like that. And so far, we're on target. Okay, one other note about your actual tree stand and bait site is you're going to be getting out of the tree when it is extremely dark. So dark you'd be lucky if you can see your hand in front of your face. So one of the things that was taught to me was to clear your pathway out of any branches, debris on the ground that would cause a lot of large crack, snapple, and pops. Here's a log that I may cut out. As long as I know it's there, I can easily step over it, but I've trimmed the little branches around the trees out of my way so they're not hitting me on the head. We want to leave the bait site each night as stealth and quiet as possible so as to not spook any of the bear that may have stacked up in the area.